I read about this book, and I'm like, oh, I got to read that. And the book is called Tender is the Flesh. Cadaver, if you speak Spanish, Cadaver Exquisito, Exquisite Cadaver. And it's originally written in Spanish by an Argentinian writer, Cadaver Exquisito, and it's by Argentine author Agustina Bazterrica. I'm sure Alvaro can forgive my pronunciation. If he knows this book, I don't know if he knows this book. So, the transition was a virus that infected animals, and it was found to be deadly to humans. So all the animals in the world were slaughtered and burned en masse. And so the world's population was only they had two choices. They could just become all vegan, or they would eat each other. Certain human beings now were being bred to be, these humans were called head. They were being bred to be eaten. So instead of like the clones in a wonderful movie called Never Let Me Go, based on a great book that Mark Romanek, if you haven't seen that movie, I just ruined the end for you. But Never Let Me Go is one of my favorite science fiction novels and favorite movies of the modern age. It's a book about cloning, and the movie's about cloning, and the main characters that we meet, that we fall in love with in the movie, were specifically in that future, they figured out how to clone human beings in the 50s, and so people were being cloned, and they were being specifically cloned for their originals to use their body parts, use the clone's body parts as they get older. So they clone themselves, and they're younger, and they're able, and there's giver. They're called givers, and the givers will give up their body parts to their originals as their originals get older. So in this book, Tender is the Flesh, human beings are being bred to be eaten. And so how do you deal with that? And it deals with the same idea of, do replicants have souls? Kind of what Alien Earth was talking about. So could we breed human beings to eat and not let human beings get educated? And let's just say it goes from there. And the book was just, it deals with, obviously, as all good genre fiction does, it has a lot to say about our world today, allegorically using certain ideas about capitalism and how we treat one another. And one of the things that we saw in the 20th century is how easy it is for human beings to dehumanize other human beings because of their belief systems. And that's one of the things that I get worried about when that's why radical Islam to me is something that I'm fearful of. I'm not Islamophobic, because phobic says irrational fear. But when you're dealing with a civilization that can dehumanize people because their prophet has told them they can, and, to die as a martyr is better to live. Music is haram. Women can't become educated. You want beautiful women. Have you seen Persian women? Do you want them under burqas? No. But these are things, and we saw the entire 20th century, Pol Pot, Hitler. I mean, you name it. The dehumanization of one group by another group. What's going on with the Yazidis, or what's going on with the Christians in Africa now? How one group, the Rwandan genocide, people that look exactly the same as one another are wiping each other out. Animals don't prey on each other the way human beings do. And of course, this is a common theme in both horror and science fiction, and it's the theme that I find most unsettling. The loss of civility. Building a civilization is really, really difficult, but tearing it down can happen in a day. And that's the thing that terrifies me the most. And I have to say, I love facing my fear, because you give me those stories and I eat them up. That and virus stories. I love viruses. And because, again, viruses decimate civilizations very quickly. I mean, to me, watching Steven Soderbergh's Contagion is like, I'll eat a pizza dinner watching that movie. Give me disease films. And when you see something like The Strain, which is a combination of disease and science fiction, I'm like, come on. I love that stuff. And I can't tell you how much I love that stuff. So books like Tender is the Flesh is, that's the, of course, English title. There's so many things about it. First of all, how does civilization change when that so much that they have to harvest other humans to eat? Now imagine, and you believe it. You believe that because you know we saw 20th century, and not just even before that, slavery, what we did to the indigenous people that were already here when we conquered the push westward, and what we can do to other human beings. And once you start doing those things, that's the true horror of life. That's why movies like Eli Roth's Hostel, although I do prefer Hostel 2, because you get to learn about the psyche of somebody who would want to do something like that. But yeah, with enough money, or I love the idea that, you know, Frank Cotton in Hellblazer or Hellraiser, I've talked about this before. You know, he's so nothing in the pleasures of the flesh, or nothing satisfies him. So he wants to break the veil between humanity and the Cenobites, and he wants to have the pleasures of the flesh, and they can only satisfy him if they're instigated or brought to him by hell itself. You know, I love that stuff. I love it because of what it says about humanity, and it helps me cope with my fear, because it's like, well, you know what? Tomorrow is not going to be as bad as what happened to the characters in Tender is the Flesh. So I take solace in the fact that I have just read something that's absolutely horrific, but I know I don't have to really deal with it.